Hello! This week we are talking about John chapter 4, the woman at the well. And initially, for this week's picture, I was gonna talk about Romans 8:28 from a couple weeks ago. But since it's a mug and we're talking about the woman at the well, I thought it was much appropriate to do it. So, public service announcement. It's hot. Drink some water. This is something I do for our delivery people, the postman. I put it by our mailbox. I stick cold water in here and ice cubes, and I leave it for them. Sometimes they even say thank you. It's kind of fun. So if we're painting a mug today, there are so many different types of mugs. You can, for sure, follow the design that they have on the left-hand side, but you can make your own. My kid wanted me to tell you that he painted a white mug. Or I told him we could tell you it was a clear mug full of milk. He's not joining us for this one. He said, "No more painting, Mommy." I said, okay. We have some favorite mugs around our house. Some mugs are plain. Some have really neat designs on them. This one has a butterfly. My friend gave it to me. Some of the ones we use have been well loved. This one has like chew marks on it and stuff. So I'm gonna use this for my water cup. And of course, a clear glass. You can see what's inside it. That's orange juice. And we have our favorite bedtime mug, Cedarbrook Camp, formerly known Pennsylvania. I forget their new name. Water, paints, wake them up. I do that by spraying water on them. I got this from another art kit. And your paintbrush. So the story of the lady at the well. Our lessons, our videos told us that she was coming in the heat of the day. Most of the people got their water early in the morning. They lived in the desert before it got too hot to walk a ways from the house and back with a heavy jug of water. But the story very clearly sets up that Jesus and his disciples, instead of taking the traditional route all the way around Samaria, they go straight through. And they meet this lady who is getting her water at the middle of the day when it's hot. The disciples had left Jesus by the well, Jacob's well, to go into town and buy supplies. So he's chilling. I kind of think he already knew she was gonna be there. Otherwise, he probably would have insisted on going into the town with the disciples. Let's all enjoy a shopping trip. And why all the disciples went except Jesus? I don't know. Maybe he kind of knew the conversation that was going to happen, and he knew he would need some quiet time with this lady, and so he just encouraged them all to go. I want some quiet time, it's okay. Jesus isn't afraid to break some of the cultural norms. He waits for this lady, knowing she's gonna come, to talk to her, to talk with her, to answer her questions. There's a lot of history there that we don't really understand. And that's because of the culture that we live in right now. It's not uncommon for us to talk to people that are from different races from us, different ethnicities, cultures. It's not uncommon for us to talk to the other gender, to talk to men or women if you were a woman or a man. But in Jesus's day, that was really rare, especially going through Samaria, where the Jews really did not like the Samaritans. And from years of not being liked, the Samaritans probably didn't like the Jews very much. So this woman is a little confused at the beginning. You are Jewish. Yep. You're male. Yep. And you're talking to me? I'm a Samaritan. I'm female. Yeah, I know. And I knew you would be here gathering your water, and I knew you would be alone because of life's circumstances. We're not told exactly what is going on with her and her story, but we know she's outcast from her village or the town that she lives in. Otherwise, she would have walked with the other ladies in the morning and gotten the water together. So she is feeling alone. I don't know if you've ever felt alone before. It can be sad and tiring, and you can pretend that you're okay for a while, but then it just wears on you. And Jesus can relate to that to a degree. He knows what she's been going through. And after they have this talk of, it's hot, can you get me a drink? I can, if you don't mind that I'm the one getting it for you. Okay. I'm not drinking from this. I've been putting my paintbrush in there. But I can drink my orange juice. Not as refreshing as water, but very yummy. And the simple act of her getting Jesus a drink, of her serving him. She could have said, no, I'm afraid to talk to you. Maybe you want to beat me up. She says, okay, I'll give you a drink. And they get to talk. Jesus kind of confuses her even further. And he starts talking about living water. If you knew who I was, you would ask me for living water. And at first she's super excited. Living water? Water that's never gonna run out, dry up? I would never have to come to this well again. I could just be in my home with my jug that somehow magically overflows with water. That sounds really good. No. There's a different kind of living water. Not the water that's going to get us out of social awkwardness, but the spirit of loving God, of having his spirit in us and his energy being able to bubble forth. So as I've been talking, I have been painting. I started with yellow and pink, kind of because they're next to each other on our palettes and they had gotten a little messy in between there. And to make this look three-dimensional, I started painting from the sides and bringing the color in. Painting from the sides and bringing the color in. So it's gonna be darker on the two sides, lighter in the middle, so it will show a highlight, and then darkest kind of in the bottom and the side where you're having the shadow. In our picture, the shadow is on the handle side. You can put it whatever side you want. It's hot, it's summertime right now, water sounds really good. But if I was drinking from a mug like this, I would have hot cocoa in it with a couple of marshmallows. That's how I like hot drinks. Maybe apple cider, some cinnamon apple cider. That would be good too. On my mug, I had first thought I was gonna do it in like a brick rock pattern. So I would show the wall, the well that was there. And then I thought, I love butterflies so much, maybe I'll do a butterfly design. So once you get the base color on there for what you like, then you can start deciding what you want to do with it. And while I'm deciding, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of shadow in there. It's going to be on my wood table. So it's going to be brown. My wood table is not quite that color though. So maybe I'll add some yellow to the wood, or yellow to the brown, I guess. I kind of like the way that's looking. Okay. And I'm going to do it darker on the one side. And every time I go back over it, it lifts up some of the paint from before. That lighter and that darker. There we go. What are some things that you can do to show other people that they are valuable? When can you spend time with someone and help them out? Whether it's leaving some water for your post person. They're out in the sun, crazy delivery schedules. Maybe it's helping someone out at the store. If you can get something from the bottom rack for someone, or the top shelf if you're tall. That would not be me. Jesus went out of his way, out of his cultural norm that he had grown up in to meet this person. The other disciples were probably a little uncomfortable going through Samaria. They're like, well, if Jesus is doing it, he's our leader, we'll go with him. When you break some of the molds that we've put in place, when you are nice to the kid that no one else really pays attention to, you're setting an example for others to be kind as well. By sharing God's love, even in the most simplest of ways, you're encouraging others to go out of their way to love those around them. And that's pretty cool. I'm adding a darker shade to the inside of the mug. It is in shadow because if the light is coming from this way, the outside is going to be lit, but the inside will not. And as it gets to the end, this part of the mug is in shadow, but the inside is the light is shining on it, so it's lit up a little bit. And then same with the handle. The handle is darker because it is on the shadow side. And you know what? I do want to remember the story of the woman in the well. So I am going to go in and make some rocky brick patterns here. I don't know what color stone they would have used in the desert at Jacob's well. And I'm going to try to keep the pattern, because it's a cup, it's a 3D object that has a circular motion to it. The top of it has a curve and the bottom has a curve. So each line of bricks that I have is going to follow a similar curve, and that will help keep the perspective there. I'm gonna imagine the bricks were a little bit gray. And I had such a nice yellow pink going there, but that's okay. The desert sands are also kind of reddy brown. And so that will just serve as an undercolor to kind of make the darker brown parts pop a little more. To make this particular gray color, I'm adding a little bit of black with a little bit of the light blue. And I'm not making them all the same size. They would have used whatever natural rocks they found. They wouldn't have, I don't think they would have taken the time or energy to use masonry skills and smith them into a particular shape, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. I should do a little bit more homework research on what the well of Jacob looks like. Okay. Yeah, I like how that's turning out. Okay, so there you have it. You have the story of a God who loves everyone, no matter how they feel, no matter what they've done or haven't done. They have value simply because they, like you, are made in God's image. They are image bearers of the Lord Most High. When the disciples record this story for later, Jesus must have told them about the conversation, because they add this bit about worshiping. And that was one of the dividing things between the Jewish people and the Samaritans, was where can you worship? The Samaritans weren't welcome in Jerusalem necessarily. And you have the temple in Jerusalem. And everyone who believed in God would pilgrimage during the year. They would travel to the temple to do their worship. During the feast days specifically. And so that's really important to the lady. Jesus tells her he's the living water. And she's like, yeah, I know the Messiah will come. I know we'll get to worship on the mountain at some point. And he kind of blows her mind and says, I am that Messiah. I am the Christ. You are my child. And you worship in spirit and in truth. So there's a lot to take away from this. Worship in spirit and in truth. Be kind. Help others out. I think I want to add just a little bit of beverage inside the cup. And so to do that, I'm going to follow the top line of the mug. That's going to be the circle. So it's going to be up almost to the top. And water usually does not look blue. And on top of my orange base, it actually looks a little brown. To make that look a little better, what can I do at that point? Let's make some of the shadows on this end, and then I'll make more shadows on this end to pull that out. And then I'll have to change the color of the handle there and give it some more shadows. There you go. Be encouraged. You are valuable to the King of Kings. Be empowered to do something awesome for someone, even if that's just sitting down and listening for a little bit. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you later.